Hey everyone, welcome to How to Lock Up Your Deal. We're going to cover three important contracts: the purchase agreement. Then we're going to talk about the assignment contract. If you're wholesaling, that's how you make your finder's fee. And the third one is if you need help selling it from another experienced wholesaler, we'll use a JV agreement. That's way more serious and important than a verbal agreement because you don't want them to steal your deal if you don't have that JV agreement in place. And they're the ones who get it under contract out from under you. But as long as you have the first contract in place, which is actually the one that puts it under contract, means they cannot sell it to anyone else during that window until closing, which is usually about 2 weeks for the deals that we deal in. So let's get right to it. You guys can Google DealMachine wholesaling contracts, and you can click that first link, and you can plug in your email address. And so mine is david@dealmachine.com. And I'll just type in my name here and submit it. And now those are actually going to come straight to your email. And then you can get them in your email. So let me pull that up real quick. As I'm pulling that up, I'll say you can close a deal on a napkin. All you need is like 5 components. You need an address, a seller, a buyer, a price, and a date. That's it. But we obviously want to be a little more sophisticated than that. But the general consensus is like most states have a standard 21-page contract. It's got so much legal language in there. If somebody's truly in distress and they're stressed out from the situation they're in, that 21-page contract can be a huge hurdle because they don't understand all that. They don't have money for a lawyer. And when we're uncomfortable, people don't take action. So you don't want to actually make it harder for somebody to do business with you. You want to actually make it easier for people to do business with you. So that's why my purchase agreement contract is pretty short. So here's the email that came in. Purchase agreement. I've used this by most of my deals actually. And this is what it looks like. It's going to be a document. It may go into your browser there under the downloads category. So you can click that and it'll open right up in your Microsoft Word. And I opened it twice there. Whoops. So let me zoom in so you guys can see it a little better and expand my window. But it just says contract for purchase on the day. That's today. The seller is the seller's name. You can remember, you can look up the owner's like full name in DealMachine. So you don't have to ask them, hey, what's your middle initial, et cetera. And then their address, where they live. So if they live in the house, you put that. If they live somewhere else, you put where they actually live. And then you, that's you. And you put your own address, so your office address or co-working space address, et cetera. Or you can even have a PO box and put that as your address. You don't even have to write PO box as well. You just put the address of the postal branch where your box is, and then you put unit number, and that's where your PO box is. So that's how you make a PO box look legit, like an address, not a PO box, if you're curious. So purchase and sale, they agree to buy the property. This is the property you're purchasing. This is the price. Terms, I really just leave it blank. Prorations. Rents will be, I put B, actually, I just removed this. So that way, if they owe any taxes or rent, you get those and they get the portion that they owned the property for, and you pay the other ones that from that moment forward. Defects, they want it to be free from hazardous, et cetera. They agree that there's no judgments against the property, which means nobody has one of those liens that I mentioned earlier. And if they know of any judgments, they need to tell you. And if a judgment comes up, this part of the contract will let you just cancel it. And there's no actual hard feelings or things that you owe them. They'll agree to give you the actual access to the property. You'll have an inspection period. So it's contingent upon the right to inspect all aspects. And so I like to have at least 7 business days of inspection period. And that way, if I want to cancel the contract and I do it in that time frame, I get my earnest money back. Acceptance of this, you can give them a deadline. Say, hey, if you want to do the deal, I need it signed within 2 days from now. Otherwise, I've got to spend my time and effort going on to help other people another deal. So it's good to do that. Deposits. I usually do, if it's a distressed property, like $100, and it's never a problem if they've ever balked at or anything like that. Closing will take place. This is usually at least 2 weeks from today's date. But if you haven't, you can ask the seller when would be an ideal closing date for them. And then if that works for you, you could put that on here. Longer than 2 weeks, obviously to your advantage, because then you can have more time to sell the deal. And then it's an as-is condition, of course, et cetera. Buyer may assign or otherwise transfer the rights. That's how you're going to assign it and make your finder's fee. But you don't actually need to have this in there because by default, I believe all 50 states actually have just general contract law that contracts are always assignable. You can place signs in the property to say it's for sale if you want to. I have never done that, or for rent, etc. And then you sign it and date it. They sign it and date it, and then you sign it down here. And there's probably only one of you, so you can leave that second line blank. And that's the contract that I use. So it's really simple. There's really no gotchas for you or them. It's just very straightforward. So now let's take a look at the other contract, which is the assignment contract. So once you have the one we just looked at under contract, you can actually go take it to a title company. Now you want to find like a Facebook group in your city, and then you could just ask like, hey, who's an investor friendly title company? So every city has these Facebook groups. I'll do oh no, I got logged out. I'll do Indianapolis because that's where I do all my investing. And I'll just search like, and there's an Indy Facebook group, and you basically say, hey, where's your, yes, I'm locked out here for a second. You just say, hey, where's your actual title company that you guys use? And then you just email it to the title company, say, hey, I got this property under contract. When can I come in and give you guys the earnest money? Or do you guys have an electronic way for me to send you the earnest money? So that's really all you do there. And I didn't realize this was so scanned in like this, but the assignment contract is so simple. Assignment of contract, having executed the contract dated. Wow, this is really, really hard to read. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't know that download thing had there. Let me find the real one that I use. Assignment contract. Oh, no, that's not it. Well, let's go back here. It's literally so simple. So it's the contract that you dated, that you put it up there. The contractor, which is you, the contractee, which is the house flipper you're going to have take your place on the contract. You write the property address, you put your assignment fee right there. And then you cannot, let's see, they agree to close and fulfill this contract, which means also paying you by the date. I would put the closing date, and then the assigner, which is you, and the assignee, which is the house flipper. And so that's how the assignment contract works. Let's go over to the third contract that you guys need to know about, which is available at DealMachine.com/JV. So you can sell your deal faster by partnering on a deal. And there you go. Plug in your name and email. Looks like I've already been in here doing that. And so now you're going to click right here to see the contract. So this is a JV agreement. This is if you have a deal under contract and you need help from a local wholesaler to sell it. You want to agree on how much they're going to pay you whenever the deal closes, right? You want to have that in writing before they start to get involved, so that way you don't deal with it later when there's big money at stake. So this agreement stated today's date between you and then the other wholesaler that's going to help you sell it. And here's the property address. And they agree to pay you. I would say 50% is pretty fair because you found it. They're going to sell it. The amount will be dispersed at the successful closing. The direct clients involved will remain exclusive clients of the wholesaler who provided the client to the party. So that means they're not really going to work directly with the person you're under contract with. They're just going to help you sell it. And any additional terms and conditions, I wouldn't have anything to put there, but you can if you want. And then you sign it and they sign it. So that's your third contract if you need help selling that deal. So you've actually found a discounted property and a distressed owner. You've gotten it under contract. And now you'd like to find a buyer so that you can pass this off to a house flipper. They can close on it and you'll make a finder's fee worth 5 to 10% of the actual after repair value. So if you guys want a great example of the impact this can make, check out episode 92 of the Deal Machine podcast on your favorite podcast platform, where one of our clients, JP Haggerty, actually 5x'd his W-2 income in just 3 months' time. So a lot of people avoid taking action completely. All the videos you just watched, you'll avoid doing all those steps just because you don't know how the heck you're going to sell one of these deals. So that's why this video is so important. So actually, in my own investing, I found a deal in Brookside in Indianapolis. It was a 2-bed, 1-bath house. I didn't know the area, so I thought $30,000 might be right. It was pretty rough, but to check, I Googled sell my house fast. And then Simple Wholesaling came up, which is a company based in Indianapolis that does about 300 wholesale deals per year. They have a good reputation because they actually ran a local meetup for new wholesalers that I had attended. So you could find those on meetup.com if you haven't found one already. And I asked what they'd be able to buy the property for. He said $14,000. And instantly, I had found a buyer and confirmation on price without telling him, more than just the address and photos that I had from taking and walking through that property. So I want you guys to know that obviously he said 14,000, and that was way higher than my price. So I went back before I gave the offer to the person, and I was able to offer like 10,000 rather than 30,000, right? So I got that confirmation from a trusted source. And so if you guys don't actually know what other ways you could find buyers, that was just one, which was the meetup. But you could also go to the foreclosure auction. That happens once a month in every city. And I was really scared before because I thought, oh, what are they going to think of me? I don't have all this money. I don't have the cashier's check to bid on properties. No, it's super informal. People bring their own lawn chairs. You can just hang out, say hi, meet people, network, and you know who's a legit person with money because you can't bid on a property unless you have a cashier's check for the full amount of the house you're bidding on delivered right there in person. So foreclosure auction is a great way to meet legitimate buyers. And number two is Facebook groups. So there's also groups that, first of all, Facebook Marketplace, you could post a house that you have under contract along with the photos there. And the reason why you can do that is because when you have it under contract, you have an equitable interest in that house, and that allows you to market it in that way. Number three is Google sell my house fast. And you could also find Simple Wholesaling or a local wholesaler that's ranked high on Google is probably a legitimate person who's doing quite a few deals there that could be a trustworthy source to help you out, like Simple Wholesaling was for me. Four is Real Estate Meetup. So again, that was Simple Wholesaling who ran that, but in your city, it might be somebody different. Five is the DealMachine Cash Buyers Filter. So we've previously looked at DealMachine, and I showed you guys those quick filters. Well, there's one that says cash buyers. So then you could call those cash buyers. There's also being able to post your deal on Craigslist. And then also there's other softwares out there that have buyers lists, but you don't really need it unless you've gone through and scoured all these ways to find buyers. Now, there are hedge fund buyers in the US who typically buy higher than any other buyer. So I'm going to run through all the hedge fund buyers and exactly where they buy. So we've got SFR3. They're in the South and Midwest. They buy 200 homes per month. Alabama, Georgia, Kansas, Indiana, Kentucky, Missouri, North Carolina, Ohio, South Carolina, Tennessee, Arkansas, Wisconsin, and Michigan. They typically can close within 7 days. Then we have Conrex. So you can say, you can Google sell your house to Conrex, find their website. Vinebrook, they're in 24 cities. Wedgwood, they're in 20 states. Open House is a publicly traded company and the largest single family home developer in the Tokyo metropolitan area. They started buying in Georgia, Texas, and California. It's openhouse-us.com. Tiber Capital, they owned 18,000 single family homes that they've acquired in Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, Alabama, Texas, and Colorado. And then, of course, Amherst. In episode 97 of the DealMachine podcast, Devin Robinson mentioned selling a house to Amherst and what that was like. And he actually, they've acquired 56,000 homes, and they have an office in Austin, Texas, and New York City, actually. So you could also, number 9, those were all the hedge fund buyers, but you could subscribe to local wholesalers' email list, wait a month, and then look up who bought all those deals they advertised their email list. In DealMachine, it'll tell you who bought the deals, and you could build your own cash buyers list there, seeing that they really buy from wholesalers. And then number 10, Opendoor used to be an option that wholesalers could actually sell to. Lately, I think they've pulled back, but I wanted to mention it just in case you thought I left it off. So a hack, don't worry about finding a buyer till you have a deal. The best way to attract a buyer is to advertise an absolutely smoking deal. They will come to you out of the woodwork. So just put your head down, focus on the previous videos, borrow my confidence in order to take the initial steps, which is find distressed property owners and actually call them. Imagine telling your family, your parents, that you're getting into real estate investing and hearing their concerns. Oh, but you spent so much time getting that college degree. Why don't you have a W-2 job, have a nice car with a really nice driveway and a nice house, and you could just live off of your retirement income when you retire at 65. Don't you want to do that and live a normal life? And I know that gets under your skin. And so the really important thing is that you take action while you're motivated, because if you only make one call per week and they check in, hey, how's that real estate thing going for you at Thanksgiving? And you're like, oh, I don't really have anything positive to tell them. And it's really annoying because it feels like they're winning now because I don't have any of that success. No, you need to actually take the right amount of action. So if you know it takes 1,000 calls to get an appointment, sprint to doing that as fast as possible. It's about 12 hours of calling. So put it in your schedule every single day, 1 hour. Your habits are the level that we fall to, not rising to the level of our goals. And so you need to build this into your daily habit to talk with motivated people. That's revenue generating activity to find one of these homes. Once you do your first deal, a huge epiphany will go off. You'll be like, oh my God, I did it. I pulled $10,000 out of thin air. That's actually a quarter of my salary at my past job working as an intern at the coffee shop, or whatever it may be. I want you to prevent doing this one mistake. Then everybody goes to hire a cold caller. They hire a virtual assistant to handle your marketing. They handle somebody to answer your calls. No, you don't want to outsource things until you've proven that you know how to do it. And the way you do it is written down in a Google Doc, a process that you follow that then can give to someone else and have them learn your way of doing things. Because I just talked with a customer the other day. He was like pulling his hair out. He's like, man, I hired somebody 2 months ago and they were going to make cold calls for me. They hadn't done any deals, so I fired them. He said they were doing about 300 calls a day. And I was like, 300 calls a day? Have you cold called before? Because I can make 300 calls in about an hour and a half using the DealMachine dialer. So if they were charging you for 8 hours, they were getting you good and you fell for it because you didn't know how to do it yourself. That's the type of thing I want you guys to prevent, especially when this is so new and you got maybe parents, family members that don't get it. It's easy to fall back into your old ways of like, well, I guess I'll go live a normal life. Maybe this isn't for me because you have a couple failures. So don't make this one mistake and go outsource everything before you know how to do it first. Great job doing your first deal. Now let's do 10 maybe before we hire somebody to come in our business, quit what they're doing in order to spend time growing our business. Let's make it a little bit more stable. Let's have some established knowledge on your end and written down so that someone can come in and do that. So what was your biggest takeaway from this course? Congratulations, you completed it. You know what your assignment is. It's going to be pulling the driving for dollars list and the tax delinquent list. Either use AI for the driving for dollars, distressed properties, or drive around yourself, get 100 of those properties, and then pull all the tax delinquents in as well as a separate list and either mail all of them 6 times or call all of them. And you want to get to 1,000 calls as soon as you can. And then you want to remember, triple that because you're brand new. That's 1,000 calls to get one appointment, but it really may take maybe 3 appointments before you find somebody who truly wants to sell at a discount and a smoking deal you can advertise and find buyers to sell quickly to.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.